If you've spent any time on the internet, or hell, even just speaking to other human beings, then it's likely that you'll have come across an urban legend or two. Whether it's your uncle who insists that a friend of a friend saw Bigfoot whilst he was on a camping trip in the woods, or some kid at school who's convinced that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and has since been replaced with a lookalike, these stories are as creepy and fascinating as they are blatantly untrue. Naturally, the video games industry isn't immune to such tall tales either, and a number of accounts of odd occurrences relating to gaming have sprung up over the years. For this list, we've trawled the internet to find the spookiest tales relating to some of our favourite video games. Though the developers may assert that they are complete fabrications, there are still those out there who are convinced that they're true. I'm definitely not a body double for the recently deceased Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 of the creepiest video game urban legends. Number 10. The Madden Curse. When you're a sports person, as several of us are here at Team TripleJump, you know you've truly made it when you've been asked to feature on the cover of a video game. If you play in the NFL though, it might be worth having a long hard think before you agree to be the face of this year's Madden NFL, as according to urban legend, the consequences could be dire. The story goes that the prestigious cover boy role is cursed, and those whose faces are splattered all over the Madden NFL box are destined to have a terrible season. After Dante Culpepper appeared on the cover of Madden NFL 2002, he experienced one of the worst years of his career, which culminated in a back injury that left him with 3 fractured bones. Other players such as Drew Brees, Adrian Peterson, and Rob Gronkowski all had awful seasons following their appearance on the cover of Madden as well, and Peyton Hillis even outright blamed the curse for his poor performance. Because of the alleged curse, fans have petitioned for their favourite players not to appear on the cover of Madden, and some bookies even create odds based on how likely it is that the Madden cover star will become injured. Just don't worry about the many players whose careers haven't been ruined by Madden, they don't fit the narrative. Number 9. The Secret Cow Level. Those of you that have played through the Diablo series will know all about the Cow Level, an area that can be accessed in both Diablo 2 and 3, and that's populated exclusively with polearm-carrying bovines. Oddly though, the levels were created in response to a rumour that was circulating around fans of the original Diablo, which had people convinced that there was a secret cow level within the game. According to folks on the internet, players could summon a portal to the cow level by visiting the town of Tristram, seeking out a herd of cows and clicking on one of them multiple times. This was backed up with screenshots, though it later came to light that these were entirely fabricated. The whole thing became something of a meme, and although there is no cow level in the first Diablo game, bovine elements have popped up in a number of places in the franchise ever since. The Diablo expansion, Hellfire, features an NPC in a cow suit. Diablo 2 included the level, Moo Moo Farm, which could only be accessed after defeating the game's final boss and acquiring certain items, and Diablo 3 featured the Not the Cow level. I'd like to assure you all, though, that it is most certainly the cow level. Number 8. The PS2 WMD. Over the years, we've seen games consoles and their peripherals used in a number of interesting ways. Xbox controllers can be used to manipulate MRI images, PlayStation controllers have been used to disarm bombs, and the Oculus Rift has been used to control robots. Undoubtedly though, the weirdest application we've heard of was the supercomputer that Saddam Hussein was allegedly building out of PS2s. According to far-right news website WorldNet Daily, some 4,000 PlayStation 2 consoles were shipped to Baghdad at the end of the year 2000. The theory was that the PlayStation 2's processing power made it the perfect candidate for military applications, and that the Iraqi government planned to somehow combine all of these consoles into one huge supercomputer and then use it to take over the world. And play time splitters with really short load times, I suppose, but mostly taking over the world. Somewhat surprisingly, no such device has ever been found, which leads us to conclude one of two things. Either that there never actually were 4,000 PS2s shipped to Iraq and the whole thing was a load of bobbins, or that Saddam Hussein was just bonkers for dead or alive too. We'll leave you to be the judge of that one. Number 7. Lavender Town Syndrome. The Pokemon series is, by and large, very cute. I mean, just look at all of their little faces. Oh, you just want to smush them. It's not all sunshine, rainbows, and fluffy critters though, as players of Pokemon Red and Blue found out. One particular part of the game, Lavender Town, has become infamous for just how creepy it is. Not only is it home to the Pokemon Tower, which is full of Pokemon tombstones and reminds players that one day their Pokepals will kick the bucket, but the area's music is also hugely unsettling. Here's some. The whole thing is so unnerving, in fact, that several stories emerged alleging the existence of Lavender Town Syndrome, which supposedly led to the deaths of several children who played the game. According to the legend, the theme tune is so eerie that it caused a number of children in Japan to experience a mental breakdown which drove them to death. Thankfully, there are no records of such a tragedy ever having taken place, though one episode of the Pokemon anime did cause almost 700 people to have seizures, so you can probably see why some people still believe Lavender Town Syndrome to be real. Number 6. Sunny the Tragic Clown. Do you remember back in 2016 when clowns were terrorizing people all over the UK? What an odd time that was. It turns out though that this isn't the first time that the makeup-wearing menaces have threatened to interrupt people's everyday lives, as fans of The Sims will tell you. Indeed, Sunny the Tragic Clown was a very real NPC that was introduced in The Sims Live and Large and would show up when Sims were depressed in order to try and make them feel better, which never worked because, as his name suggests, he is a tragic clown. What's worse is that once he's there, he's almost impossible to get rid of. As though clowns aren't creepy enough, one Sims fan alleged that Sunny got his revenge after the player burned him alive. They claimed that the game stopped working properly after they murdered Sunny, and that messages kept popping up with a countdown which culminated in Sunny showing up and kidnapping several of his Sims. The player also claimed that his computer began turning itself on and played music from his speakers even though they were muted. Of course, this is all 100% invented. That said, if it did happen, I suppose that's what you get for torturing clowns to death. Number 5. The San Andreas Bigfoot. The legend of Bigfoot dates back hundreds of years and asserts that a large, ape-like creature inhabits the forests of North America. It's not just woodland campers that need to keep an eye out for Bigfoot though, as the hairy fella has allegedly made his way into Grand Theft Auto San Andreas as well. According to a number of fans, Bigfoot can be found roaming the San Andreas countryside, though his behavior seems to vary based on who you ask. Some say that they spotted a hulking creature in the woods, but when they went to take a closer look, it ran away, whilst others claim that they were attacked by Bigfoot. Alas, none of these claims have been proven to be true and often turn out to be the work of modders or just barefaced liars. Terry Donovan, co-founder of Rockstar, even confirmed that there is no Bigfoot, just like in real life. You'd think that that would settle the matter, but a number of players have taken that to mean that there's no Bigfoot, but there are other mythical creatures out there in San Andreas, such as Manhunt antagonist Pigsy. Good luck to anyone trying to find them, I suppose. Number 4. Herobrine. There are a lot of weird creatures in Minecraft. From aggressive skeletons and flesh-eating zombies to creepers that explode when you get too near to them, the world is filled to the brim with bizarre monsties. The most peculiar, though, is Herobrine, a creature that a number of Minecraft fans claim to have seen whilst playing the game. Herobrine looks just like Steve, only his eyes are completely white, and supposedly he goes around creating random structures, cutting the leaves off trees and popping up to scare the bejesus out of unsuspecting players. Scores of fans reckon they've encountered Herobrine over the years, with some even documenting the creature with video evidence, I say in inverted commas. Despite the claims of a number of Minecraft players, no one has ever been able to verify the existence of Herobrine in any unmodded versions of the game. There are no references to him in the source code, and there's no code that would allow an entity to act as Herobrine supposedly does. Herobrine even appeared in the stream of content creator Copeland, though he has since gone on record to confirm that the whole thing was just a hoax and that the Herobrine in his stream was just a modified painting. Number 3. Polybius. There are tons of government conspiracy theories floating around, so it's really unsurprising that stories of a government-run video game-based experiment have popped up all over the internet. According to the urban legend, a bunch of arcade cabinets started appearing in several areas of Portland, Oregon in 1981. Supposedly, Polybius was so popular that players would become addicted to it almost immediately, with huge lines forming around the machines and fights breaking out as people disagreed over whose turn it was to play next. It's alleged that not only was the game hugely addictive, but also that it caused players to suffer from some pretty nasty side effects, including nightmares, amnesia, insomnia, hallucinations, and even seizures. Reports state that men in black would visit the machines every so often to collect data, and that the cabinets all disappeared around a month after they were installed. The actual origin of this legend is unclear. Some claim that the story began circulating around 1994, though no records have ever been found, and the first confirmed report surfaced in 2000. What we do know, though, is that there's no evidence to suggest such a game ever existed. Then again, if the government were behind such an experiment, I suppose that's what they'd want you to think. Number 2. The Future Predicting Numbers Station. Over the years, there have been a number of things that have seemingly been able to predict the future. On several occasions, The Simpsons has foretold major world events, and during the 2010 World Cup, a common octopus named Paul was able to correctly predict the outcome of matches, correctly identifying the winner 12 out of 14 times. But did you know that Fallout 3 ostensibly has the power of clairvoyance, at least according to some internet users? Supposedly, players could turn one of the in-game radio stations into a numbers station, something which has been used in the real world to transmit coded messages. Allegedly, if players killed 3 dogs, skipped the Galaxy News radio mission, and destroyed Raven Rock, they'd be able to hear a number of encoded messages that predicted several major events. These included an Oscar win for Britney Spears in 2023, the death of the Queen in 2014, and the end of days at an unspecified date in the future. It was even claimed that the numbers station predicted the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, though conveniently that particular message wasn't deciphered until after it actually happened. Despite all of the discussion the so-called phenomenon has attracted in internet forums, no one has actually been able to provide hard evidence of the existence of the numbers station in Fallout 3. Number 1. The haunted N64 cartridge. Throughout history, people have claimed that a wide variety of items are cursed. Usually they're really odd doodads and trinkets, but there are some, like the supposedly haunted Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask cartridge, that are far more modern. The story, first posted online in 2010, tells of a college student named Jaducible, who purchases a Nintendo 64 cartridge labeled Majora from a creepy bloke at a garage sale. Once he gets it home, he finds that it still has the save data of Ben. No, not that one, on it, and several strange things begin to occur. After attempting the Day 4 glitch, the student finds himself alone in Clocktown, accompanied only by the laugh of the happy mask salesman. He tries to drown Link to achieve a game over, but ends up just summoning a statue of the protagonist that follows him around town. Outside of the game, he tries to track down the man that sold him the game, but finds his house empty and later concludes that the cartridge is haunted by a boy named Ben who drowned 12 years prior. The dead boy begins contacting Jaducible in the real world, and it's ultimately revealed that Ben had posted the false account in an attempt to get released onto the internet. Spooky stuff. Eventually it transpired that the whole thing was just a story created by Jaducible and that none of it was actually true. Still, it will make you think twice before buying used games at a car boot.